Hi, everybody. We have an amazing Axa here, and today we'll be talking about interesting subjects like comfort zone, New Year's resolutions, nutrition, and mindset. Let's start with the comfort zone. You wrote a book about it. Stop calling it comfort zone. Can you tell us more about your idea and how you put it into work and make a business out of it?
Oh, that's a nice start. For me, everything started from the point when I questioned how do you feel in your brain when you call the zone where you are unhappy, unhealthy, and unfulfilled to be a comfort zone. And then I realized that whatever we associate the event, the zone, or anything with the particular word, that's how you will react. So when you call the zone where you are unhappy, unhealthy, and unfulfilled, or whatever you are struggling with, to be a comfort zone, you signal your brain that you are comfortable to be unhappy, unhealthy, and unfulfilled. And your brain will just take all the actions to keep you there because you already set the bar that being unhealthy is comfortable for you. Exactly what happens during the ending the year with the same list of the the new year resolutions we all know, right? We're right in the middle of the new year resolutions, which we, by the way, know that halfway in February majority of people are going to fail. Even when you go to the gym and you ask when it's better time to start, they say, oh, come in the middle of February. Why middle of February? Because January, it's so crowded, so people have these all new year resolutions, they start high. And so why does it happen? It's because the bar that you set, what is comfortable for you, is not to exercise, not to eat healthy, or to be stuck in the toxic environment. Let's say you are stuck with your 9 to 6, 8 to 5, whatever job is. I don't have anything against the job because somehow I was employer before as well. But if it doesn't make you to progress and it completely ruins your goals and the future that you see, then you need to do something about that. Whatever you state to be a comfort zone and you add the attributes there, that's how your brain will read your reality. And I was amazed when I realized that people actually think about the comfort zone as a space. So comfort zone is illusion. Please
Mhm.
uh, never underestimate how your brain decodes the signal that you send. If you think of a comfort zone to be a space, your brain will think the same way. If you think that it's a space, then please polish the space and start to rearrange whatever exists in your comfort zone. And make the space for what is beneficial for you. If something doesn't serve you, remove it. And don't rush yourself to add something. Whenever you have the empty spot, let's say you are assembling the puzzle. If you have the empty spot, it doesn't mean that it will stay empty. We are so uncomfortable with the silence, with the empty spot, with um, doing nothing, that we rush ourselves to start the process which is not beneficial for us, instead of stop, give your time, give yourself the time to rethink and to rewire your brain and to have the right strategy and the right steps to move forward. If you have the bigger picture and you don't know what are the correct steps to move forward, you will do the dumb things consistently. Are you going to hit your goal? No, you are going to multiply the dumb things in your life. the having the right strategy, being consistent, and accepting that you are on the learning curve, that's the key to success. Otherwise, you would be completely stuck in where you are, call it the comfort zone, without the option to progress. That's unless you want to stay there, then stop calling it a comfort zone. Just rename it. Don't think it as a space where you uh, feel yourself safe, because many people confuse the word comfort with safety. If you need safety, then uh, try to figure out what makes you to feel safe. Not don't add the word comfort where it doesn't belong to. Safety is different thing, and the way that you talk to your brain and the thoughts that you generate in your brain, that's how you will shape your future. They form every single moment of your being. They affect your biochemistry, and the biochemistry is everything. So if you are on the path to transform your life, you have to rewire, and you have to see how you form your habits and where is the weakest part to break it. Because if you see the complete process of forming the habits as a complete picture, and you don't know where are the links and how the process is formed, you can never break it, because you see it as a whole very complicated process, and you think, oh, I cannot, it's already built for over decades. That's true, it's built over the decades, but every habit has three layers, and once you understand where are those three layers, that's where you find the weak link in the habit formation, and that's where you have um, to put your efforts towards, like direct your actions and break it. That's how the transformation happens.
Excellent. Uh, I thought about comfort zone a lot, and I find this that it's actually we are, like you said, we misnamed it, because usually I think this is not a comfort zone, but there's a zone we are used to it, and people are used to, you go home to the husband that's beating you or is drinking or is not nice to you, or you're going to the job that you hate, but you still go and you try to say to yourself that you have to, because of I need money for this, I need money for that, and instead of choosing the better thing, but we are afraid of unknown, and we don't want to do that step, though we knew it could be much better than it is right now.
I love that you touched that point, because we all have some needs to meet in our life. But what we don't know, that the source to meet that need can be changed. So if you need safety and you think that staying in your comfort zone, the job that you hate, and with the in the relationship which are absolutely a disaster, that you know that you have to quit, the place where you fulfill your need for certainty can be changed. And once you start, because we all need to meet our needs, that's how the nature designed us, because we are biologically wired to feel safe. Otherwise, you start to panic and you start to exaggerate the risk and think that you are going to die. That moment your brain is unable to tap into the resource which the nature, by the way, created for us, because you close the door yourself for your safety coping mechanism which the nature gifted us to. But we narrow the path that we go through, because we don't see that the same need can be met differently, the same way as people have the need, let's say, for the variety. Otherwise we would be bored to death, right? So they start to feel their need for the variety with checking the social media, which is unhealthy, right? It's not the social media itself, it's how what you tap into as a social media, what you do consume. If you consume the funny videos or the horror videos or anything which is not serving you, then you meet your need, but you meet it in the not beneficial way. The same I can do the opposite way and then benefit from that. Exactly the technique that I described accidentally while I was going through the hardship, because for several years I was in really very dark space. Like I didn't even see the future, because I had the particular future formed since I was a child, and I knew that I'm not going to hit that. And that was the frustration that I was in. I also lost my dad. Then another life-changing circumstance happened in my family that I wish never happened. Then my personal trauma. So I moved to live in the new country all by myself. I didn't know any person. And everything was happening uh, within very short period of time, so I didn't have the time to recover, and then another. So for me, and I was transitioning from the very safe environment, which was science for me. 15 years I knew everything in science. I was transitioning into the real life out of academia. So I completely lost this feeling of the safety, and I was feeling with different emotions, and I was transforming how I see the things. And that's where I accidentally discovered the new technique, which helps you to rewire the links that exist in your brain, and how you see your the world, and what fills your world, and how you can otherwise fulfill your needs without fulfilling your body, by the way. And it is not fulfilling full fulfilling, but fulfilling with FOOL illing. So you cheat on your body through filling it with the emotions which are not beneficial, but at the end of the day you meet that threshold, because we all have the threshold for particular emotions. Your body doesn't realize, because most of the time we live in our subconscious. Unconsciously you hit the biochemical threshold, and you think that you met all your needs, while you met all your needs through not successful way, but you still met your needs. And in the morning you start all over the fresh, without realizing that you go the same cycle, and the spiral just compounds what you put in. So if you the life is a closed system, let's start from there. There is a put in, there is a state that you are in, and there is a effect. If you put in the positive emotion, but if your body is in the state where you compound for decades the outcome for your from your negative habits, you are already in negative state. So if you put in the positive emotion, it's not going to change much. You need to multiply the positive emotions within your body to have the compounding effect over the time, not in one day, months through months through months. Plus to that, you have to stop feeding your negative emotions. Otherwise, you have the balance between the positive and negative. And unlike the positive, which is completely new for your body, your negative emotions were built over the decades. So what are the chances that the negative emotions will drag you down? Because that's where you slide in, right? Because your body is used to that biochemistry. That's why when you start the production of that negative biochemistry, your body says, thank you, because that's what you are used to. But the positive, your body, when it's in on the subconscious level, it doesn't, and there is no cautious analysis to understand this biochemistry is negative for me. Your body subconsciously reads this biochemistry is familiar for me, and that's where why you stay in that negative stage, because that's familiar for you. If the plant needs the water and you give the water, the plant will thank you for that, right? But the plant needs nutrients to grow. So if you keep watering the plant and the plant still needs the water without adding any nutrients, you will kill the plant.
Mhm.
But the plant doesn't realize, because you still give something that the plant was used to have for decades.
Mhm.
That's where you have the option to, for not to break down yourself, but to break through. Because when you shift how you meet your needs, your body doesn't understand, and then you start to rewire how do you meet your needs. That's where you meet your needs for certainty, not through going to the relationship which is not beneficial for you, or to the job which is not beneficial for you, but you convert and you meet that biochemistry through the familiar things. And then at the same time, you do something which is new for you, but you stress the biochemistry of familiarity right after. And that's when you rewire your brain. It's described step by step in my books. It might be confusing because within just only a very short period of time, we're going to be here maybe for 1 hour. It's impossible to explain because the person has the questions. It's very confusing in the very beginning. You need to go step by step and explain it in so many details. But the book describes step by step how to follow the technique with the explanation what it does in your body. That's where it's like the guidance that you give, you hand to somebody, and then they have your hand and they can walk through the path of transformation. So if anyone is stuck, if you feel you are unhappy and you are ready to transform your life, that's way to go. Because if you start and you sabotage yourself and you slide right back in your comfort zone, it's not very beneficial. Why? Because you signal your brain again and again that transformation is painful, that you fail, and you multiply that your belief that transformation is not for you. The same is when we start to meditate, right? In the very beginning, you you are confused because you don't know. You learn from one person what the meditation does, but you don't learn the failing part of the meditation. No one from the mentor starts from, in the very beginning it was absolutely like nonsense. I felt so bad, I felt old, I felt like I was failing. No, people give you the lessons how the meditation can transform your body or your life. And when you have the lesson and you see the outcome, the goal as the final goal, and you don't see the path that you need to complete to come to that goal, you will stand right in the middle of the path because you don't achieve the final goal which you tend for, and you will assume that that's not for you. And more assumptions that you have, and you find the proof for yourself that something doesn't work for you, your brain will decode that information is that the progress is not good for you. And that's not a funny place to be. That's why you need to have the full list of everything that you might need over the path. That's where the complete picture, like the goal that you have as a bigger picture, has to align with your to-do list. Together with this, you have to have the dissected picture for the bigger goal, and you have to have with your to-do list is to complete list, because we are so perfect to start something and not to end. So we, instead of starting your new year with the new resolutions, go back and say, instead of having the to-do list, now this year I'm going to have to complete list. Your brain taps back to what does to complete mean. To do doesn't mean to end. Your brain, when you say I have to-do list, it doesn't say, okay, I need to complete. It will have the to-do list, which for many of us doesn't mean that it's to complete. But when you have to complete list, your brain decodes the word to complete differently. Then unless you complete the task, your brain will not be satisfied. It will stay in the mode that there is something incomplete, I need to finish that. And it will rewire your energy towards completing the goal to meet. That's what's the difference between people who fail all the time and they cannot hit the goal, and successful people, because they don't have to-do list, they have to complete list.
Excellent. I actually think very much about how we should be more like children, because I think that adults are rewired or brainwashed into a lot of bad things. And one of the bad things is that we uh, don't take whatever it takes to do something. For instance, a child, when it's crawling and he's trying to walk, he doesn't think of, oh, I have to walk, I have to do this. This is not my to-do list. I want to walk, and I'll do everything I possible. I use all my resources to walk, and he tried thousand times, if needed, a million times, so long that it works. And I think that's the one of the things that we adults are very bad at, because usually it's really frustrating at the beginning, because it's not a straight line, but it's a hockey curve. You know, you have just a little progress at the beginning, and then you have the breakthrough. And we are so used to shortcuts and things like, okay, I need a coach, I need a teacher who will taught me this. But some things you have to experience, like you said about the meditation. You have to walk the path. You cannot, somebody cannot teach you how to meditate. You have to do the iterations. It's no other way.
It's interesting because I would disagree with that. If you want to learn to meditate, you can try, but if I tell you go to do the word which you have never heard before, you will be completely lost, right? When you go to the mentor, they give you the shortcut. It doesn't mean that you cannot do it on your own, but the difference is that even if they give you the roadmap, you still will have to find your path. That's when you stand out, because if you repeat somebody's experience, you just blend in and no, you don't create the authority. That's the worst thing that you can do. But the child experience, it's not that they try, it's because they don't have the perspective of the failure as I failed. They don't see the failure as failing, and that's the best thing that you can. I never thought about the failure as not hitting the target. For me, failure is not trying, because maybe because of being in science as well. In science, there is no failure as it is. You just tried, it didn't work out. The real life is very different, especially when you enter the business world. If you didn't hit the target, you failed. Then you start to reprogram your vision of the goal differently. But because I was in science for 15 years, I never had that perspective of the failure as, oh, I tried, it didn't work out. Okay, it didn't work out. Try something else. Try something else. That's how you design even the experience. Try something else. Uh, and we have a lot to learn from the kids. Why? Because unlike the kid, we have already the experience, and that's the trickiest. And here is the key: we don't have the experience of our own. When we grow up, we hear the warning all the time, which comes from the adults and the peers, right? So adults, without realizing, unconsciously, they transform their world vision to us. So
Mhm.
at certain point, you come to having this comfort zone formed around you as a child, which actually is not a comfort zone, but it's created from the experience of that particular adult who raised you. And it's not a comfort zone. So the problem is not to step out of your comfort zone, but not to step into the warning zone, because the adults, they create around you the alert zone. uh, when they start to warn you, even they have very positive intention, right? They want to save you, but
Mhm.
the uh, immature brain of the child, where you don't have the option to analyze yet, the cautious is not mature yet, you don't see the difference between the real threat and the created, like mistaken or exaggerated threat or the risk. So the adults create this imaginary comfort zone for you, and you think that if you step out, then there is a risk outside. That's why I said I was amazed how many people think of their comfort zone as a physical area that they really need to step out. Like,
Mhm.
there is a video, it's very funny video, when somebody draws the line and the ant cannot cross it.
Mhm.
Everybody says that's how we completely screw up with our brain, because we don't have the instruction how to direct the brain to work beneficial for us. But that's something that no, I believe no one speaks about. If we tap back and we remember the times for COVID, we were all scared. It happened for the first time. We thought that we all are going to be not in very beneficial situation. So, but if to rethink that situation, if not COVID, we would not have the access to have the online meetings, right? We would not have the Zoom. We would not even have the access for the courses, because mentors were uh, mm, they were hosting the seminars, the workshop in person. They would continue, and we would not have this access to all the wisdom which was generated for decades,
Yeah.
and to have this shortcut to learn something which was built for centuries, even not decades, centuries, to learn in 1 year. So if we tap back and we think COVID era, pandemic and the lockdown, and to see the positive outcome from COVID, actually it's beneficial either way. Why? Because you command to your brain that if COVID, which you thought is only negative, now you can see it from the beneficial way. What if other events that happened in your life, there is also some positive feature or some positive outcome that you never thought before. And that's how you start to rewire the links that exist in your brain with how you associate, how you see, and how you can change. So how our brain works and how human body works, that's very essential, because that's where people can learn how to break the habits. So whenever there is a trigger, there is an emotion. Everything is the emotion in our body. The emotion triggers the shift in our biochemistry. The biochemistry in human body shifts in two ways. So there is a hormonal shift which no one can control, because it was created by nature to keep us functioning. I don't want to say to keep us surviving or alive, because that's where we send this command to our brain as well. Oh, nature created us to survive. No, nature didn't create us to survive. Our environment taught us either to survive and see the threat in everything around us, or to tend to be happy. So the nature created this first reaction, the hormonal response, because it needed to keep you functioning. Then there is a second reaction. When you shift your hormonal, there is a shift in your hormones, your brain starts to synthesize the neurotransmitters, because the first moment when you assess what's happening within me, you have the reaction, and your cautious brain start to react. Is it positive? Is it negative? And if over the decades you build this habit to have negative emotions towards the particular shift in your body, your brain starts to synthesize the negative emotions, the neurotransmitters. If you stay on this level between the first link and the second, when there is a nature designed shift in your biochemistry, which is the hormones and no one can change it, and the first reaction as the synthesis of the neurotransmitters, you will try to survive in life. The transformation happens when you level up and you go further between the second and the third level, which is the link you can break between and create a new habits. How? Because even if your body synthesizes the negative neurotransmitters and you convince yourself, oh, that's bad, that's like negative emotions, you have the option to influence your body and synthesize different neurotransmitters to calm yourself and say, okay, it's negative. I have the option to choose not to multiply the negative emotions, but to multiply the positive. That's the only link that you can break in your brain and rewire your brain. Otherwise, you would be stuck between the first and the second level, and you will never progress. No one can break and rewire the brain if you live in your between the first and the second level. No one, because nature didn't create us that. If you have the emotion, the trigger of the negative emotion, your brain will go there because that's familiar. If you live 80% of the time in your on your subconscious level, your body, and you don't have the assessment, because only cautious brain can analyze and say, is it positive or is negative? So if you live on subconscious level, your body doesn't care if it is negative. It will harm your body. It says it's familiar, thank you. That's where you are with all your sabotaging, calling it comfort zone, and reliving the old limiting beliefs because it's familiar. And the cautious brain, which exists between the second and the third links, that's where you can break, because you create the new biochemistry for yourself, and you have to multiply that biochemistry and make new biochemistry to be familiar for your body.
Mm.
That's the only way that you can rewire your brain. And when people keep telling rewire your brain, once you dissect the complete process of pattern formation, that's when you give the tools to the person and say, oh, this is the link where you can affect this tool doesn't work on the first and the second level. Forget it, because that's the nature designed level to keep you functioning, not safe. Not safe. Again, the need to stay safe, you learn when you, if you go through the hardship over and over again, you make the biochemistry of survival familiar for your body, and then you just feed that need for safety and survival. You need to shift and to unfeed that biochemistry of survival and start to feed the biochemistry of positive emotions, as long as that biochemistry becomes familiar for you.
Mhm.
That's the only way that you can rewire your brain, break the old patterns, the habits, and start to progress. That's where the magic happens.
Excellent. So we are a bit over the time already, but I wanted to, if somebody would like to work with you through this transformation, how would you start? How does it look? How long does it take? What do you suggest?
And that's very interesting question. How long it will take for the person who is 100 pounds overweight and the person who is 10 pounds overweight? Plus, how long it will take for the person who is 100-pound overweight but is 100% committed versus the person who has 10 pounds overweight and is not very committed? That's the answer to your question. There is no answer to the question. It's how committed you are, because again, the transformation happens only in your cautious brain. The cautious brain takes commitment, period. You cannot rewire your brain uncautiously. You have to make the cautious decisions and to make it so constant that you will rewire, which is on autopilot, because you're yourself tapping into the negative emotions and bringing you to the level to synthesize these negative neurotransmitters. It's already the rewired disk. You created the program for yourself on subconscious level. This is familiar. Your
Mhm.
subconscious brain doesn't analyze. It's familiar. Thank you. That's the program you have on your subconscious. Your cautious brain has the power to take the influence over. That's something that I learned 1 month ago, and I love it, and I started to spread it last time. We use the word control too much. There is even perfect saying, there are things that you can control in the world, and there are things that you cannot control in the world, and you have to figure out what's the difference. That's how you can uh, become happy. There is nothing we can control in the world. Wake up, people. There are things that we can influence, and there are things that we can never influence. So the moment where you see what you can influence and what you cannot influence, try to magnify your efforts towards the things that you can influence. And that's where you can influence how you see the world, what happened, how you assess, okay, something negative happened to me. Do I choose to make a strategy from that and relive that strategy and to tap back into the familiar biochemistry and to listen to the same disc over and over again? The life is unfair, I'm unhappy, I cannot do this, I will fail. It's, yeah. Or to create the new disc with the new soundtracks that step by step, music is created when you put the right notes one after another. This is how you create the new melody. And it's not only to create the new melody, you have to re-listen the melody so many times every single day to make that new biochemistry to be familiar for you. Then on subconscious level you would tap back in and you would say, it's familiar, thank you. So that's your choice. Either your negative is familiar and your body will still thank you. Unfortunately, that's how the nature created us. Familiar, thank you. This is negative. And here you create the positive and make it so familiar that your body would say, oh, okay, this is also familiar. But then I also benefit from that. Thank you. That's the difference. That's where you can that's where the magic happens and you can transform your life. No other way. Don't even try. Don't even try. The nature, we need to understand the failure happens when we are trying to rewire and to break our old habits on the first level. Oh, this happened, I will react this way. No, that's the difference between successful and progressing people and people who fail all the time. Because people who learned how to progress, they accept that this is negative. They accept the negative emotions, the link between the first and the second, and they choose to create the new one. That's the difference. Unsuccessful people who fail all the time, they are trying to break the link between the first and the second. No one can. No one can. You are fighting the nature, which is stronger than you are. Period. The transformation happens between the second and the third level. Level up.
Excellent. So let's wrap it up. Do you have any final thoughts? I think it was really impressive what you learned, and we have to, I don't know, digest it. Um, I'm really happy that this is recorded, so I could go through this again. Uh, so, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Every single moment in life, we have the choice to assess the emotion that we live. Don't fight if the first assessment comes as a negative. It's your subconscious which gives you the familiarity, because that was created over the decades. Level up. Go for the next. Remember your experience. Don't exaggerate the risk. And whenever there is any alert around you, tap back into your childhood and remember, was the alert coming from the created illusion of adults or the peers that you heard the alert from, or it's your own experience? If it's your own experience, then be cautious and make the right decisions how to follow. If the alert comes from imaginary and perspective of the other person, analyze. If it is not true, just let it go.
Excellent. Thank you for your explanations and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting me and good luck. Remember, either you become the lesson or you become example. Tend to be example.